I mean, what can you say about Ian? I mean, I wish I had a photograph, you know. Now tell me you don't love him. Those lovely grey blue eyes, hair down to his bum, and a lovely gentle personality. Even, you know, you listen to the music and those lungs, that sound, that enormousness of it all. And yet when you actually meet him, he's quite a gentleman. He's quite a gentle, laid-back guy. He was living in a tiny, you couldn't swing a cat in it because he'd lost everything. And he was living in this little tiny flat in Westbourne Grove, and Phil, his manager, was dimming him 75 quid a week to get by until something came along, you know, so he got another job. And Ian is a true romantic and very much the gentleman, and he decided he wanted to do it properly, and he wanted to have dinner with my mother. So we picked my mum up and we went to dinner, and once she'd had a scotch and dry to give her some Dutch courage, I think I went to the bathroom, and she did actually say to Ian, you know, I don't give a shit who you are, but you hurt my baby, you have me to pay. You have me to pay for that. So she was the only one, really, and that's only because of what she'd read about rock and roll. Not that she actually knew him, but I mean, now she knows him. I'm sure, you know, she would never have used that line, and she'd known him better. We've been married 3 times to each other. We were married the first time in 84. Grace was born in December of 83. We decided we were going to get married in 84, and it just so happened it coincided with the reformation of Deep Purple in the 80s. So that was a lovely moment. We had a lovely wedding in Stowe, Vermont. Sound of Music country, with the band and just close family and friends, and it was lovely. And that was the first time we married. We were just having such a wonderful time, and we can get a bit silly and romantic sometimes, the two of us, and we just thought, well, this is a really exciting, strange, invigorating atmosphere to be in. Why don't we get married here? They'd sent this carriage down from the mountains, so we were driven by this horse carriage through the streets of Tbilisi, which the police had stopped all the traffic for us. They were very sweet. And we had wild Cossacks had come out of the hills. They were on their horses, firing their guns and tossing bottles of champagne all the way down the street. And then there were the whole, I don't know, 1,000, 1,500 people behind that. And then behind that was the 40-seater coach, which had the crew in and the rest of the band. Oh, it was crazy, but it was absolutely fantastic. And we were taken to this, what was a civic building, although it felt like it was a cathedral. Beautiful stained glass windows, and we had these drummer boys. We had the Georgian State Choir singing a cappella. We had the Georgian State dancers. And it was a fantastically wild event. And that was our 3rd wedding.
I used to get really upset when I was little. Every time he'd go away, I used to bawl my eyes out and I'd get really upset. And we keep in touch on the phone all the time, but he always used to make up for it when he used to come home. He'd always be a great dad. So, and you kind of get used to it over the years, you know. It's just something you have to adjust to, him not being there. But like I say, when he is home, he makes up for it. So,
if not more so than your average family. You know, people work 9 to 5. They don't get home till late. They never see their kids before they get into bed. And I know we don't see him for weeks on end, but then when he's home for 24 hours a day, which is great.
Well, he's not your typical dad, but he does a good job of it. And there's been times where he, you know, slicks out from the crowd. I mean, he's well known for getting his kit off and running around in the nod. And there's been times, you know, where he used to give me a lift to school in the morning and get in the car and just jump in naked, you know, and drive me to school, which was fine when you're driving along. But when you pull up to school and there's people walking along the sides of the car, it can be a tad embarrassing. But it's all meant well, bless him. Just the way he is, I think. when he's on stage, he's Ian Gillan, and when he's home, he's Dad. And you do get an overwhelming sense of pride for him because he's good at what he does, you know. And for me, the most sort of heartstring tugging moment is when you're standing on the side of the stage and you're in a country like, you know, Czechoslovakia before it turned, you know. I mean, that there was a lot, you know, they've been through so much there, and you see 40,000 people all singing the same words and they've all got tears in their eyes, and that's really the moment when you feel the proudest, you know, because music's a wonderful medium and it sort of changes everyone, and I think that's the element that's the best part to be proud of, really.
Yeah, those are the proudest parts of what Ian does, is when you see him on stage and you're in those sorts of countries like the Soviet Union. We've travelled so much, and those people don't get to see the personalities in the bands as much as we do in the West, and they're so appreciative, and it really is a heart pounding moment when he first goes out on stage and all those kids get up. It's wonderful. He's been doing this since he was knee high, and it's just like breathing to him. This is what he does.
You can always tell as well when he's had a long break and he's been home for a long time, he starts getting itchy feet, and you know he loves it. He just lives for it, and it's his.
I know, I get itchy too.
It's his life, yeah. And everyone else starts getting a bit itchy as well.
I've been known to phone up his manager and say, "I can't take it any longer. Please send him out on the road."
Haven't you got an album to write or something?